Kilauea volcano update, Crater Lake, deformation, inflation, and earthquakes. We're going to take a look at some images, the latest measurements of the lake. It's still growing, as you can see. The steam is making it difficult, but it is growing. And it is inflating. Pahala, where we have the deep quakes, is still rattling. And those deep quakes are basically towards the magma plume of the hot spot. But we can take a look together so you can have a better idea from the images given to us by USGS. The Hawaii Volcano Observatory for Kilauea. These are the latest images, January 31st. U.S. Geological Survey. The diameters you can see from the 24th to the 31st, just about a week. And we'll take these little circles as references up here. So you can see that it's basically half the distance that has been closed from this circle and a little bit less here. So it is growing every day. Field observations show the diameter of the Crater Lake within Halemaumau at the summit of Kilauea, about 308 feet north-south and around 630 to 640 feet east to west. Too much steam at the west end interfered with measurements this morning. The two small circles above, right here as you can see, and these two, show how much the lake has grown since January 24th. And the water samples were collected from the Halemaumau crater. Sampling device, temperature logger were readying for takeoff. Plastic sleeve was attached to the drone with a cord about 6 meters long, 20 feet. Colored flags attached to the cord and intervals so that the drone pilot and other team members could visually gauge how deep the sampler was under the surface of the water. And collections from depths of about 10 to 15 feet. One in a yellow-orange patch of water, the other in a yellow-green patch of water. The purpose of the drone flights was to collect water samples and gas data to assess ongoing volcanic hazards. HVO's work in culturally sensitive areas close to the general public was done with permission of Hawaii Volcano National Park, and after the sample was collected, HVO team members transferred the water from the sampling device into the plastic bottles. Scientists wore protective gear, including hard hats in case of rockfall hazards near the crater rim, aprons, goggles, gloves, and as you can see, to shield them from the hot acidic water. Now, remote measurements of the water surface temperature via the thermal camera indicate temperatures of about 160 to 175 degrees Fahrenheit. Field measurements of pH indicate values of 4.3 for surface water, 4.2 for yellow-orange water, 3.9 for yellow-green water. You can understand that these temperatures are in degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so that's just below, a little bit below boiling. That's steaming. Steaming, basically almost boiling. Now, January 21st, as you can see here, flight over East Rift Zone. The helicopter flyover of Kilauea's East Rift Zone from Pu'u'o to the lower East Rift Zone. Photo looks up Rift West showing Fissure 8 and the vent of the 2018 lower East Rift Zone. And here you have what it looks like today. It's hot even today, as you can see. It's this thing here, thermal image. The flyover Fissure 8, January 21st. The thermal video here, Fissure 8 cone showing that small areas of higher temperature, greater than 100 degrees Celsius, so that means it's more than boiling, or 212 degrees Fahrenheit, are present on the cone, and those hotter areas likely represent residual heat in the cone and underlying fissures. More of the 2018 lava flows. As you can see, these were the areas that were running at about 18 miles an hour. Remember how fast those rivers are flowing? Amazing. And here we are again. Some of them are still steaming, as you can see. And this one here left a cinder cone. A big one here, smaller ones here, smaller ones here. The East Rift Zone fissure system from fissure 8 and fissure 22. Fissure 8 is the top right, fissure 22 the bottom left, standing out from the 2018 vents due to the conical shape, resulting from the small strombolian explosions that built a pile of cinder around it. And here we have more fantastic lava flow pictures from Kapoho crater, where flow widened and ponded during the 2018 eruption. And here we have the Isaac Hale Beach Park. You can see how much of the lava came into the bay and closed off a lot of this, as you can see. And more here. Middle East Rift Zone, thick clouds and steam preventing clear views into the Pu'u crater. This is January 17, showing the rise of the water at the bottom of Halemaumau. But so you can see how much the lake has grown. Monitoring, let's go to the deformation. Oops, sorry. Oh, okay. Well, okay, the quakes. Quakes, as you can see, the deepest ones and most activity is here in Pahala. Okay, Pahala, and you can see how deep they are, about 20 miles in. All of these are deep, whereas these are all shallow. To magnitude at 5 miles. Sorry, that was higher. Okay, minus means that it's above sea level. You can see here, whereas all these are quite deep. Depth 22 miles, 23 miles. This is the past hour, 22 miles. Basically towards the mantle plume. Now going to the deformation, and you can see what happens the past 2 days. Electronic tilt meters and GPS receivers monitor the deformation of Kilauea volcano. And let's take a look at this, okay. And you can see, like, for the past few days, it goes up and down in January. This could be because of the rain, for example. And then it was steady, and then it dipped again, then it's coming back up again today. Now the blue line here, this blue line here, shows a radial tilt at Uekanuhuna Station at western rim of Kilauea caldera. The green light is tilt at Pu'u. And basically you can see it's uplifting here. Positive changes often indicate inflation of the magma storage areas beneath the caldera or Pu'u, but may also result from heavy rainfall or instrumental malfunctions. And this is our GPS showing the inflation. This is last year's, September 2018 eruption, and then building up again, as you can see. This slope is a little bit more inclined than it was before the 2018 eruption. And this is the past 5 years. Again, that shows the eruption there. Okay. And publications. No, the current alert is January 9th, so that's pretty old, but it gives us a little bit of the activity. Kilauea volcano is not erupting. Monitoring data for December shows variable rates of seismicity and ground deformation, low rates of sulfur dioxide emissions, and only minor geological changes since the end of the eruption activity, September 2018. Rates of seismicity of the month were variable but within long-term veils. Sulfur dioxide emission rates are low at the summit and are below detection limits at Pu'u at the lower East Rift Zone. The pond at the bottom of Halemaumau, which began forming July 25th, continues to slowly expand and deepen. As of early January, dimensions are 84 meters by 190 meters, about 280 feet by 620 feet, and the current depth is about 75 feet deep. That's pretty deep. Now, over the past month, about a dozen deflation-inflation DI events occurred beneath the summit. Similar to the prior month, since early March 2019, GPS stations and tiltmeters at Kilauea Summit have recorded deformation consistent with slow magma accumulation within the shallow portion of Kilauea Summit magma system. But gas measurements show continuing low levels of sulfur dioxide consistent with no significant shallowing of magma. Some amount of sulfur dioxide is being dissolved into the Summit Lake, and work continues to try to quantify this process. The hazards? No, although not currently erupting, areas of persistently elevated ground temperatures, as we saw before, and minor release of gases are still found in the vicinity of the 2018 Lower Rift Zone fissures, including steam, water vent, very small amounts of hydrogen sulfide and carbon dioxide. Conditions are expected to be long-term. Now, hazards remain at the Lower East Rift Zone, eruption area and Kilauea Summit. Residents and visitors near the 2018 fissures and lava flows and summit collapse area should heed Hawaii County Civil Defense and National Park warnings. Lava flows and features created by 2018 eruption are preliminary on private property, and persons are asked to be respectful, not enter the park the park or private property. And of course, Hawaii Volcano Observatory closely monitoring geologic changes, seismicity, deformation, and gas emissions for any sign of increased activity at Kilauea. HVO maintains visual surveillance of the volcano with web cameras and field visits. Additional messages and alerts. Level changes will be issued as warranted by changing activity. Now, the Kilauea is a code normal green, and whereas that's not the case for Mauna Loa. If we go back to our monitoring, and we'll see Mauna Loa as well, is yellow. Oops, sorry about that. Mauna Loa is yellow. Okay. You saw it, I think, before the, this is it right here. Okay, that's it right there. Oh, okay, which means caution, right there. Mauna Loa, the biggest volcano, above ground volcano of the earth. I'll leave links below for you for this on Hawaii Volcano Observatory of USGS. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece. in Capotat, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.